start our Borough Council Workshop meeting for April 2nd, 2025. We'll start with our call to order.
President Ferguson.
Here.
Vice President George.
Here.
Councilmember Burns.
Here.
Councilmember Fagan.
Here.
Councilmember Cresser. Here. Mayor Gerard.
Here.
Junior Councilperson Nesbitt.
Here.
Borough Manager Snyder.
Here.
Borough Solicitor Harper.
Here.
All right, good evening, everybody. We'll go ahead and start with item 1. Can I get approval for the meeting agenda for April 2nd, 2025 workshop meeting?
Second.
Very much from Councilman Burns, second from Councilwoman Cresser. Any questions, changes, or amendments? If not, all in favor? Opposed? There are none. Item 2, public input. If there's anyone from the input or anyone from the public who would like to make a statement, please step up to the podium, make sure the green light's on, state your name and address, and the reason you're addressing council. All right. And I will apologize to everyone up front. My brain is mush right now, so please excuse me. So, all right, item 3, announcements.
Next council meeting is April 16th, regular meeting at 7 p.m. in council chambers. The planning commission is scheduled to meet on Monday, April 28th at 6 p.m. and that will be held in the community room. HROC is scheduled to meet Wednesday, April 23rd at 8 a.m. in council chambers. Earth Day events are scheduled for the week of April 21st. And the Montgomery County Planning Commission Steering Committee Community Open House is scheduled for Monday, April 28th at 6 p.m. here in council chambers.
All right, any questions? All right. If not, we'll go to item 4, reports from our standing committees and the mayor. So we'll start with budget, finance, and labor. We did have a quick meeting tonight to talk about some potential with a potential renter for the old septic station. We're going to work on the side to work up some numbers, and then we're going to present something to council at the, it'll be an executive session, but at the next council meeting to talk through, since it is real estate related. So that's all we got on that. Any questions? All right. How about planning, building, and zoning? Any updates?
So we didn't meet, or yeah, we didn't meet. If we met last month, we are scheduling a meeting in the next week or so, that are 2 weeks, to go over a couple of things. So we'll have something for next meeting.
All right. Any questions for Larry? All right, if not, public safety.
There's something new to report.
All right. I'm going to assume no one has any questions for Councilwoman Cresser. So how about the public works and property?
Public Works and Property did meet this past Monday. We discussed a number of things, most large portion of which was Heritage Parks Pond. We went through a couple of general cost estimates for kind of different options, which are going to be presented during the open house on April 28th. So we're open to ideas for what people want to see the pond become, whether that be kind of like a naturalized basin, or kind of just trying to pave over it, or even keep it as a pond. We're open to all the above. So anybody that's listening or out there, you're going to come to the open house on April 28th. We'll talk about the pond there and what we can possibly do with it as far as going forward. We did also talk about park priorities as far as what we want to see in different parks moving forward, and just general ideas as far as which parks we want to focus on, and trying to get an idea of what we would want to see there in the next couple of years. So whether that be upgraded equipment or new equipment, there's a lot of ideas on the table. So again, happy for input for the public, or anybody here, as far as, again, the open house on April 28th, we'll be going over that as well. So it's just kind of a lot of general ideas of like visions for the future of the borough. Other than that, just strategic planning and utility updates. So,
And regarding the fountain, was there conversation about trying to determine why the water has or is not being retained in it?
No, I
As
mean,
part
I
of
don't think anybody's trying to-
investigation or research or?
Yeah, I think it's just, well, it's losing more water than it's going into it, and I think over time, it just, I mean, it's emptying. So dry conditions are just gonna make the level go down regardless. There's not really a whole lot of sources of water for the pond, so we're kind of limited in trying to feed it any type of water or anything like that, so. No, we're not really talking about trying to save it that way, but more what we want to see of it going forward. Just to try to keep it from completely filling in. And as far as the fountain, we can't even have a fountain at this point because the water level is so low. So that's not really an option. But yeah, I think it's just the dry conditions are, when the rain comes, water will go in, and then if it doesn't rain for long enough, it's just gonna drain right out.
I thought I heard someone. No, not you. Okay, all right. I'll be quiet then.
Yeah, so not a lot of good options with the pond, but we're gonna do our best to try to make the most of it.
Any questions for Councilman Fagan? All right, how about public utilities?
Yes.
Excuse me, yes.
That Heather Meadows, is that part of their stormwater management system?
No, the basin that's right adjacent to it, where the
Is
water
that-
flows into, yeah, that's all the water management, it all flows into the basin, including the
Okay.
pond. So really the pond's just fed by like the lawns around it, maybe the rain spouts coming off the buildings right
Right.
there, but there's not a lot of water going into the pond, which is kind of, not the issue, it's always been that way. Just
I'm
with the
just wondering
times.
if Chad, at the engineering firm could, offer some suggestions also.
Yeah, it was on his report. He mentioned that they were looking at options as far as if there's anything they can do now. Yeah, it's a long-term issue, I guess, because
Right.
it's not going
As
anywhere.
long as altering the pond won't alter the stormwater management,
Correct.
then it's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the stormwater's all through the basin that's also in Heritage Park there.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chad's the one that drew up the plan, the things that we have to present.
Okay.
Yeah, it's his group.
Yeah, like I said, for me, it's the fact that, this is the first time that's happened, right? That we've lost all the water and not knowing what the cause was. I mean, the suspected cause was just lack of rain and hotter temperatures. But if we want to keep it as a pond, this may happen again. And if it's climate, then it's climate, there's nothing we can do about it. But if it's something else, then that's why I was asking the question.
Yeah, no, I understand. And I think it's a number of things. I mean, it's always been a very shallow pond, so it's not like it lost like 20 feet of water. So
Right.
It's always only been a couple feet with the build up on the bottom and then the lowering from the top. It just kind of meets in a sludgy middle there. So,
We had to haul
I
the
mean-
dolphins out of there.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, honestly, I think we would probably see some kind of plantings in there, maybe, like some kind of like a rain garden type of thing. I don't know if it would be, I don't think you would really be able to walk in it personally, but I don't know. But I think it would be more like a wetland type of situation. That's what I see. No, we didn't discuss that at all, but just personally, I think that would probably be the most like cost effective thing we do going forward, as opposed to trying to like completely pave it over or like completely dig it out or do something crazy like that. So we'll try to take the most sustainable option.
All right. Any questions? All right, if not, utilities?
We have not met recently, and I have nothing to report at this time.
All right. How about HUROC?
Vermont has not met recently, but we do, as mentioned earlier, have an upcoming meeting on the 23rd of April here in the Borough Council chambers.
Any question for Councilman Gerard? If not, we'll go to the mayor.
I just have a couple of things to report. If anybody's interested in going to the tour of the mascara recycling plant in Birdsboro, we have one scheduled on the 23rd of May, and it will be 11 o'clock in the morning. So if anybody's interested, just let me know. And the only other thing I want to talk about is the junior council person program. I had somebody, contact me. He's 18 years old, and he expressed a desire to find out about the JCP program and to see whether he would be interested in it. That led me to, ask Katie to see what our resolution is for the JCP program. And also, Malachi, who's soon completing his first year, he's expressed an interest in staying on for another year. Now, our resolution only allows for a one-year term, and it only states high school age and high school students. So if we did have somebody who is older, maybe in college or maybe older than high school years, do we want to look into including them, allowing them to join up? According to a PSAB, they do not say, they say high school age or college age. So, there's no problem there going against what they have. They also say that it's a 1 or 2 year term. So if we change ours to 2 years, we're not going to be in conflict with them. So I guess I want to ask, do we want to look into revising our proposal and just to include those other possibilities to allow for more flexibility, to allow, what does everybody think?
Well, Madam Mayor, if I can expand on that. So is it a question of, well, one option might be, another option might be is to, instead of revising it, basically just making an exception versus having to go through the process of revising the whole thing. Something to think about. I don't know if that's something we'd want to consider as well.
How difficult is it to revise it? Is that
Or-
I mean, we draw it up.
Mhm.
So I would think it would just be a matter of if everybody's in agreement to make the changes. I don't know.
It's not hard. Kate could probably take the old one, red line it with the changes you just made.
Right.
I mean, we don't have to advertise it.
Mhm.
Right, it's a proposal, not a
Right.
resolution, it's not a ordinance or anything like that.
Exactly. So you could just put it on a future agenda and then debate it.
Yeah.
And Kate, you know what I'm talking about, redlining it that way? Yeah, I think she could do that. That won't cost much. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, it's our resolution,
Right.
so I would think we could revise it as long as we're within the PSAB guidelines.
Not that we don't want Malachi to be here in the future. I want to make sure we're clear on that. So it's- So,
I would say we're just changing.
Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, let's make it as flexible as we
Yeah.
possibly can and, get as many. We can have more than one at one time, so I know we're very small. I would like to see more than 2, but we can have 1 or 2. I think that would be fine, so, okay.
It's a good problem to have.
But you know what? I was thinking that.
Madam Mayor, go ahead and put me down for the tour. I don't know if I'll be able to make it because my daughter has Olympic Day too. So,
Oh,
but we'll
okay.
see. Olympic Day is typically,
Now, 11 in the morning.
yeah.
I took the second one because I didn't want, there's one at 9, one at 11, so it's about an hour ride out there, so.
All right. Any questions for the mayor? All right, if there are none, we'll go to item 5, reports and correspondence, starting with the monthly investment.
Monthly investment report was included in your packets and, along with the cash accounts through the end of February. Just want to highlight, some conversations that we've had recently. We've been talking about what's best for, the borough investments. We're making some money, not a lot of money. We had money in, we still have money in, bonds and things like that. We will be meeting with KeyBank, but KeyBank does get us roughly between, $8,000 and $12,000 a month in dividends into a Harleysville account. That's, leaving KeyBank or doing something like that with our investments and taking it to like a Pliget or a TD or something like that, you'd be losing that income of 8 to 12,000 a month. So that's something that, we need to consider. We'll keep having that conversation with budget, finance, and labor. Something we definitely want to pin up before we move into the budget season in 2026, where our investments at. We still have, a 24-month one and, or two 24-month ones. One expires in 2025 and one in 2026. So, yeah, one did, what?
Bonds or?
Yeah, bonds, yes. So, we'll just kind of keep an eye out and look at that, but it's kind of hard to walk away from 8 to 12 grand, in an account for you. That's kind of, a savings account for a month, for a rainy day fund that we have. So, we'll just keep at it and see what the best outcome is, and we'll continue to have those conversations with budget, finance, and labor. Kind of see where the market is going after this first quarter.
All right, any questions? If not, how about the monthly EIT and LST?
Monthly EIT through March, 24,454. In 2024, we were at 20,770. So, a little higher in 2025. As we move over to LST, we were at 12,155, through March. In 2024, we were up to 15,841. But if you look back over the previous years, 2022, we were in 12,000, 2021, 20, those are COVID years. So, we were down a little bit. Nothing really to worry about. We'll just, keep monitoring it.
Any questions? All right, how about monthly year-to-date?
Monthly year-to-date seems pretty steady for January and February, 600,000 plus in revenues and expenses for both months. March isn't on there, but we had a significant bill list last month, so that will make an impact moving forward. But we'll continue to monitor it. It looks pretty good. Yes, very close with revenues and expenses. Would rather have a little bit more revenues than expenses, but, we'll keep an eye out on it. We haven't had our big payments come through yet for our borrowing as well. So that's sometime early spring, so we'll have to look at that, see where we're at for budget wise. First, where we are in taxes going in.
Any questions? All right, how about the monthly zoning hearing board applications?
Well, happy to report in your package, you have an order from the court affirming our zoning board decision on Harpin Capital. That was the, depends on which side you're on this, but the applicant had asserted it was a twin. The neighbors testified it had been used as a single family home as long as they could remember. And the applicant wanted it to be used as a twin, and the zoning board said no, that there's no hardship, there's no variance, it can be used as a single family dwelling. And we went to court for a status update, and judge told us how busy he was, now he wasn't gonna get to oral argument for months and months and months, and everybody agreed that he could just do it on briefs. And within a week, we got this order upholding the zoning board decision. And I think that we both expected it, Eric Fry and I, because while we were in front of the court, he did discuss a fairly recent case, extremely similar, where the zoning board decision not to grant a variance to make a two-family dwelling was upheld. So that brings us back to a discussion we've been having off and on, and that we might be looking at with respect to the comprehensive plan or something, whether you, and it's also in the Borough Magazine this month. ABCs of accessory dwelling unit. Okay, so, right now, our ordinance does not permit it, and the court upheld that. So that's good news for you. Okay. And he has 30 days from the date to appeal it, so at the end of April. But, I don't know that it's worth appealing it one more time, from his perspective. He didn't really have any good arguments against.
Well, don't you have to have a basis to appeal it again?
Yes, you do.
So-
Well, you're supposed to.
Okay,
You have to have an argument you can make anyway. I didn't see that.
Well, these days, the arguments seem to be kind of weak in general, so.
Right.
it's not-
And it's his right to appeal, so he gets 30 days to make that decision.
Any questions? All right, how about the Montgomery County Planning Commission Steering Committee report?
The report was included in your packets highlighting what we discussed in March. And then looking at the comprehensive plan, community survey. This is going out to, I believe it went live yesterday or today. And it will, postcards are available, we'll post it. Looking for feedback from the community. And then we're gonna be talking about some of that feedback on Monday, April 28th. When we have a community open house here to talk about open space and parks, recreation, borough-wide transportation priorities, economic development. There'll be refreshments, kind of boards that you can walk through and like tab what's important to you for living here. But most importantly, if you can communicate to those that you see to please participate in the community survey. We're really looking for the feedback. We do have it posted in our newsletter. It will be going online. We have hard copies available here for those residents that would rather fill out hard copies, and we'll put them onto the survey. And we will be mailing out individual postcards to every resident within the next couple of weeks.
When is their open house again? What was the date?
The 28th.
28th.
That's why the planning commission, if we have it, has to be in the community room.
Lucy, do you have the link to that survey? Did he send that to you?
I think he sent it to the whole steering committee.
I'm looking at the email, he mentions it, but I don't see the actual, like, is it the link he sent before, same one?
There was a little issue with the QR code
Yeah,
from the
no,
link
so that-
before, yes.
So, yeah, we wanna make sure we have a link, because it went live yesterday with the
Yeah.
survey, so people, and you said we can put that on the website too.
Yeah, we're gonna put it on the website and post it. Lindsay and I just didn't get together today to post it because there was some issues with with the link, the QR
Yeah.
code. We had, already sent it all out to the newsletter and it was being delivered, so we had to pull that back and put little stickers over the new QR code.
Well, maybe we should get the electronic one out there, so people can just do it
Yeah.
online.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank you.
So the ones in the flyer, these are good?
No.
So that's not
the
good.
old flyers, right?
not the old flyers now.
Okay.
That's the old flyer.
That's the old one, okay.
He said he rushed ordered 500. He said he would drop them off tomorrow.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, and then, like I said, we just put a new sticker in the newsletter before it hit mailboxes. The new flyer will go out and then we'll post it online with the new link.
You have any more of the stickers? Because we have those stacks of cards that we had.
Yeah, he wants everyone to throw them away because he ordered
Okay.
500 more.
Okay.
But yeah, I can easily he sent me the new QR code, we just put them on labels. But yeah.
Something defective.
Yeah.
Figures
I was
you're,
gonna see if you figured it out.
figures you're an Ohio State guy.
They
that's
couldn't
all.
get it out of test mode. You know, we did a test
National
survey.
champions.
That was the problem. It was like you can't transfer to go live out of test mode. You have to create a whole new QR code. Learn something else.
Yeah,
No. All right, any questions? All right, how about our police department? He's not here today, so, all right, we'll cut Chris some slack. Anything?
He's,
So-
he's at training.
Okay,
So I'm
that's right,
pretty
you
sure he's
mentioned
gonna
that,
be
so-
coming to the next meeting.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. How about our fire department?
36 calls this month, 130 years so far, and we're also trying to organize a door new training facility. next week, I think it is.
Yeah, it's either whatever council and or the mayor can make next week, a Tuesday or a Thursday at 7 p.m.
And that's the facility out across from Clemens? Is
Yeah,
that,
it's
okay,
behind our substation.
okay. Do we need to define the date today? Or
Yeah.
still, okay.
I have to let them know. I just said we have a meeting on Wednesday and I'll poll them and see who's available Tuesday, Thursday, 7 p.m.
Next week?
Yep. And then you just let me know and whatever works best.
Tuesday's probably better for me too,
I agree.
at 7 PM.
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Not.
Tuesday, the.
Well, more people can go on Tuesday. I don't want to,
The calendar.
Thursday would be better, but we can change, we have something on Tuesday night, but we can
You can change it.
change it possible. It's our grandson, but
It would be the
I can also, I mean, I'm
No,
sure,
so,
Steve, we can do two separate ones,
okay, what time was that again?
7 p.m.
Oh, okay, we might be back, okay. Tuesday might work for us.
Okay,
Just leave it Tuesday.
okay.
We can make it more like it.
I can also do something, if it doesn't work, you do something separate.
No.
Yeah.
And we like.
Thank you, Linda.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I apologize, I do have some spring concert at Hatfield on Tuesday night. I was in the wrong month. Yes, I know it's not a paper version.
On the calendar.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, don't let me hold anything up, so. Okay. All right, any questions? How about our EMS?
There was no report in your packets.
Public Works?
But the only thing I really want to highlight is the televising of the laterals on North Main Street. I know I touched on this last meeting. By doing so, we were able to eliminate 50% of the laterals that tied into the sanitary sewer main on North Main. So that was a huge source of I&I on the sanitary sewer system that we were able to cut off.
Nice. Was there any impact to the contract for the work with the additional?
It should bring the contract price down.
Okay. Anything else you want to highlight? Mr. Public Director?
Not necessarily unless you have any questions for me.
Question.
One of the neighbors on the street is, how long is the, are they gonna be digging on Main Street?
For you, the next 5 years.
Nice.
They're kind of right now bouncing back and forth between North Main Street and West Broad Street. They're working on concrete restoration on West Broad Street, but also trying to do small miscellaneous finishing touches on North Main. The majority of the digging on North Main is complete. Next week sometime, they have a storm sewer pipe to replace right by the post office. After that, it's really just gonna be concrete restoration, pressure testing, and paving restoration, which will happen at the very end of the entire project.
Someone just asked me, I said, I don't know, I said, I'll go to council meeting, I can ask.
Yeah,
When is the projected end of the?
I think we're still on schedule for June for total completion of everything.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, so the alley behind the, what is that, 300 block of West Broad Street, was re-shut down today. It was open, it was shut down for years, for like 5 years. It was opened once the pipe was complete and installed. It was re-shut down today for the restoration of the concrete curb and apron in front of that. It'll be reopened next Friday, the 11th, is that right? Yeah, thank you. And then it should be done from there. So door knockers went out to all the residents that are affected by that today.
All right, any questions? All right, how about engineer report?
Just want to highlight a few things in Chad's report. On the second page, we are working through, as you know, the sewage facilities planning module with the Hatfield Walk, 23 North Main Street. DEP submitted some comments, preliminary comments back today that I got this afternoon of some touch-up items they'd like to see before they consider the application. So we'll work with Chad, get those items together, send those over so they can do a full review of their sewer facilities planning module packet. Diamond Street dwelling, J&P Properties. If you're familiar with J&P Properties, that's Jim D'Angelo, or who was doing Bennett's Court. He's coming in and building just one single family home on Diamond Street. It's going to be 3 Diamond Street. And, if you're familiar with the Zampiri property, we went through that subdivision there maybe 2 years ago. It's the back of that. So it's the Zampiri, it was created for a subdivision, so he's gonna build, a single family home there. That's currently under review. And then, 43 Roosevelt came back. They, need to record their plans, get their developers agreement and everything signed. So we'll be signing some of those documents after the meeting tonight. Kate will be recording, the developer will take it to be recorded. Then they'll be coming in for some permits to demo the building, build their twins out there. He did say to me that he was gonna take it through the build, so it's not like they're gonna sell off the property once it's recorded. That was a question that was asked. He is planning on building. So, we'll see that project. And, finally, just to highlight, we've talked a lot about the code department and different things that's going on in code. We're working on, and Kate's been involved with it with Chad, a borough staff to develop like just a checklist of standards when people come in and apply for subdivisions, they apply for developments, they apply for permitting. Code's only here 2 days a week for a small amount of time, and a lot of the time it falls on Katie or I to fill in for that department, and we're reaching out to Chad and Kate to make sure all our ducks in a row and documents and who needs what. So we're just think it works well where Kate's a solicitor in Milford. They have a nice checklist, works well up there. It's something we're gonna try to implement to just keep the department kind of all structured and moving forward.
The goal is that before you let the plans get recorded, you have to make sure they check off all the boxes of the conditions that you put on it. So they have to have an agreement with the North Penn, the North Wales Water Authority, North Penn Water Authority, you know, that you have it. If they had to get an agreement regarding sewer, you have it. If they have to, you know, and so if we have a checklist, then what you use is they want their plans recorded so they can move ahead and do what they're doing, and we use that as, okay, that's the backstop. We'll record your plans when you give us X, Y, and Z. That's what we're trying to get to, so that, so we don't miss anything.
Yep. Were there any other questions on Chad's report?
All right. If there are none, we'll go to zoning officer.
Zoning officer report was in your packets. Nothing stands out particularly. You know, there were some notice of violations for work without permits. Most of it was they installed things without permits. So, we are following up on that. Anything else was just standard permits or resale inspections. We're working through the process of defining fire safety inspections versus the rental registration, defining two separate kind of, two different ordinances, two different programs. What does that look like? And that's also something that planning, building and zoning is going to be talking about within the next week or so.
I just have a real quick question. I've noticed over the past few months that it seems like there's been an increase in the violations because of doing work without a permit. Is it something that's, you know, it seems like it's getting worse, and I don't know
Yeah.
why.
I have no idea why, but I would agree that it's getting worse. I don't know if it's just more neighbors telling on neighbors, so we're knowing about it a little bit more. Or it's just people are doing work and they don't know they need permits. I think that comes into, people don't know that you need a permit to redo your roof or something as very simple as that. Like you wouldn't know, so you think you're not changing anything structurally, why do I need a permit for that? Those type of things. So I don't know, I don't have the answer, but there definitely is an increase of work being completed without permits.
Do you think it's something we ought to begin to publicize more on, say, our website or in publications to let people know that, hey, you just, you know, can't do certain things
Yeah.
when you get a permit for it?
Yeah, we can put it on the website, we can put in the next newsletter that's
Yeah.
coming out, maybe make a
I think it might be a
section.
good idea.
Yeah, sure. I think that's a great idea. Yeah, I would
Okay.
agree that it's becoming a lot of people coming in and complaining that people are doing work without permits.
Is it typically people doing the work themselves, or is it contractors doing the work?
Most of it is like contractors like are not coming in and getting permits
Oh,
like
it
for
is?
a roof, yes.
Okay.
which they should know about.
Right, I was
There
gonna
are
say.
some that like a shed, if you go buy a shed, you know, country sheds and you put in, maybe you probably should have checked. I mean, I know when I got a fence, they were like, oh, you need a permit for that. Most fence companies know, so I'm not sure what the disconnect is.
If, you said if people put a new roof on, so in other words, isn't that maintenance?
Yeah,
Why?
it's in the fee schedule that you have to get a permit for that. Same with siding.
I asked-
too.
I asked Bob about that.
Yeah,
Why? Because some people ask me
great
why.
question.
And he said the reason why is if it's you're just replacing the shingles, it might not be a problem. You know, everything's good, you're off that. But you don't know if there's damage underneath, decking damage, then it becomes a structural issue.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they want to make sure that's done because if they rip the shingles off and they find it, well, then it's too late. I mean, it's gonna hold it up because now they gotta go get a permit.
Right.
You don't want the roof sitting there without the
Oh,
shingles
no.
on there and stuff. So that's why. It's more of a, for a roof, it's more of a preventative.
Well, no, I think on top of the advertisement, maybe during the next town hall, anything, we should
Yeah.
probably have a section of that too to, you know. And then we've talked about, are we going to be more aggressive in enforcement of these going forward, right?
Yeah.
Because we already know from an electric standpoint that people have added on electric capacity for their electric vehicles without permits as well too. So so I think we should emphasize that and let people know that we're gonna start getting more strict on enforcement. And especially with the electric, that people need to come in and even if they've already installed it, which I will say to the public, if you've already installed electric for your car, you need to come in and get a permit for it so that we know. So so we will retroactively go back and start enforcing some of these things.
Yeah, it's good for electric. We've caught a lot of people without permits because of the AMI system, so we get a text message when they disconnect power, so we're easily able to find electric, and we have come up with some electric. I just think people, you know, they may not know, or their contractors don't know, but yeah, I think we have to get a little bit more forceful with that aspect of it.
And Kate,
especially the electric.
is there something we can do with contractors? I mean, to the point, contractors should know that, because this isn't the first time they've ever worked in a municipality, they should know that they are going to need permits for things. Is there something we can do to help make sure that they're doing the right thing?
Well, I was thinking that one of the issues is that our code officer's part-time and he's very busy and he could drive around every now and then and look for things.
Mhm.
So that we wouldn't have to depend on neighbors riding out their neighbors.
Where's a public works director or manager?
Don't throw me under the bus.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I mean,
Lindsay, we all drive around when we go to the post office. That's how we do high grass.
right, but I'm just thinking our code officer, if I remember the contract, although we have a certain set of hours with him and he has office hours or whatever, we can actually pay him for extra time by the hour. We could try to encourage him to spend some of his budgeted time driving around.
Yeah.
Just so he might catch a contractor.
Yeah.
Usually pretty obvious with their trucks and everything, out there, and that might be better.
Yeah, because I guess, I mean, I wouldn't expect the general public to know what they need permits for, just in general,
Right.
right? But I would expect contractors to know that because this is their job. They do it every
Right.
day, day in and day out. So,
I
so,
think they would know it, and they would also know which townships are likely to catch them and which.
yeah, so,
Yeah, so maybe if we became a borough likely to catch them, they'd be better
Right.
at it.
so I guess, yeah, we should maybe think about that going forward of how do we enforce that? How do we encourage contractors to do the right thing, up front?
Well,
So-
we tell the public that permits are required and they hire a contractor, we should tell them in that segment, make sure if you hire a contractor that they get,
Okay.
that they get the permit.
Mhm.
You're gonna be talking to the people in the meeting, these things need permits. If you hire somebody to do it, make sure you tell them to get the permit, that.
It really depends on the contractor, and I don't know what you guys can do to actually make the contractors do it. Because last year, me and the 3 houses connected to me, at the Meadows, we all had a roof done once. I went directly to the contractor, said, we need permits for this. Here's who to talk to. Here, they said, take care of it, everything's fine. Halfway through the first day, the code enforcement officer was actually out that day. And where's your permits? Oh, we don't, then the crew didn't have. Them. So suddenly last minute, we're like filling out papers to get our permit in place so they can continue working, so.
Well,
Yeah,
sometimes
when you
that's part
tell
of
your
your,
contractor, you have to do it, they don't necessarily do it.
sometimes that's in your contract with the contractor. I'll get the permits, here's the cost.
Yeah.
It was just like a master list you can send, or, you know, like a way to be proactive.
Yeah, yeah.
Here's 20 people here, but this is what our requirements.
Yeah,
We gotta-
Interesting. yeah, go ahead.
I would suggest to, send a separate flyer on what, permits are needed. Just a list to each resident. Because when I moved up to Philadelphia is a beautiful. So when I came up there, I took my time and went to the borough website, went down and looked at all the things I needed to do or permits and stuff like that. So I was pretty much on there, but a lot of residents just don't know. Or won't spend the time to look or research.
Right.
That's just my opinion. If they got a letter or put it in your magazine and have, so these are the things that you need to get permits for. You know, if you have any questions, contact so and so.
Right.
It would be this way here, the residents has something.
Yeah.
I'm not just my feeling on.
Yeah, I mean, and part of my thought wasn't so much to make contractors do it, but if contractors are doing work and there's not a permit, they would be fined for it. You still have to make the homeowner go get it, you know, or as you said, make it in the contract, but that would incentivize the contractors to make sure that the homeowner's got the permit, so I'm not gonna do any work until this permit's posted, so. Not that I want to hinder business in the borough by any means, but, you know, it seems like this is going on quite a bit, so. But, and for things like electric, I mean, that's pretty standard. I mean, that's pretty significant, right? So I can understand someone not understanding that, hey, I bought this portable shed that I'm gonna stick in my backyard. It's not a permanent structure, you know, do I need something for it, so.
To the point you made, you could put it in your newsletter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought I'd work with Lindsay in making like a flag on Canva that we could post, you know, just start posting, like, hey, just an FYI kind of thing, we can do that, then put it in the newsletter, and just kind of start getting the word out, make a list, you know. Don't forget when you do it, you have to, these are the general things you have to apply for. We can definitely be more proactive on our end of getting the word out, definitely.
But see, if the code officer actually gets out there and catches somebody, that also works.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Let's see what happens after we start advertising and
Okay.
publicizing, if you guys agree. Any other questions? All right, how about the fire marshal?
There's no report included in your
Nope,
package.
that's right. How about pool advisory?
There's, okay, it's in here. Good. Oh, it wasn't in my packet. So the full advisory report was included in your packets. Looks like they went over some website updates, talked about swim lessons, hiring update, that they're looking for seasonal work. Talked about their current staff. You do the next page, please. Thank you. Talked about some training that they had through the Red Cross, leadership interviews, financials. The North Penn update, I know that, North Penn is actually going through a renovation of their, pool. So they're kind of looking for, hey, are there community pools that we can participate in? It's obviously gonna highly impact their aquatic season, for North Penn High School and their water polo. So I know they've been having conversations with multiple municipalities, the Y, different pool areas. So that, kind of was an update there, and then just some important notes that they highlighted. And their next meeting was March 11th at the Township Building. Yeah, this is probably from February. But any other specific questions for the pool advisory? I know our members have been attending and going. That's how I knew about the North Penn update, because I talked to Owen at our steering committee meeting about it. So be happy to take back any questions.
All right, questions? If there are none, we'll go to our manager's report.
My report was included in your packets. Wanted to highlight for utility billing, shut-offs will resume in April, weather pending. We're getting into the spring and summer months, so we will be looking at our delinquencies and performing shut-offs in April. And just some items of interest that I wanted to highlight. We spoke earlier, but the Earth Day week activities, April 21st through the 25th. What activities are going to be going on at the borough office and Franconia Auto. If anyone's interested in attending the Montgomery County Boroughs Association dinner, let me know. I'd be happy to respond for you. The Living History Day for Hatfield 250 is coming up on, I don't want to mess it up, on May 31st, right? Yes, May 31st. I do have to say, I want to highlight something about this committee. This committee has been awesome. They have put in a ton of work to have really, really great activities going on in 2025 and 2026 to celebrate America 250. So if you get a chance to check out, we have a handbill that has a lot of the events that are coming up in 2025, along with some things that we're going to do in 2026. The committee's really come together. Very interesting, a lot of representative from the borough and the township. So, you know, I hope that everyone can make the 31st. It seems like it'll be a really good turnout at School Road Park. And lastly,
Does that QR code work?
I hope so. Larry, is that QR code work? And lastly, if you're interested in attending the PSAB conference, it's from June 1st through the 4th at the Hershey Lodge. Let me know and I can register you for the conference. It's always a great turnout, nice networking with other elected officials and managers. So that was it. Any questions, comments?
All right, sounds like there are none. So we'll go to item 7, new business and discussion items. The first item, resolution 2025-06, recognizing Safe Digging Month.
Safe Digging Month is celebrated in April, and it recognizes the 811 or utility digging, safe digging. We've done this for the past several years now, so this will be on for consideration at the regular meeting. Just an annual resolution just to recognize April as Safe Digging Month. I think it said it has over 50 years of continuous service to the Commonwealth.
All right, any questions? If not, we'll go to the next item, 2025 PSAB voting delegate and alternative.
For PSAB, we have to designate a voting delegate, and if there's more than one person attending, an alternate. So if you're interested, like I said, in attending the conference, let me know. We will have to have a delegate. Well, I think it'll be on for the regular meeting for appointment. I'm personally registered and going to the conference. Be happy to be the voting delegate, but if an elected official is going to the conference, would be happy for you guys or ladies to be the voting delegate. So just let me know and we'll make sure it's on for the meeting in April.
When do you need notification as to who's going to attend?
As soon as possible, because it's first come, first serve at the hotel. So the Hershey, and it sells out very fast. So if you're interested in attending, let me know, and then I will get you hotel reservations and then register you for the conference.
Any questions? If not, we'll go to the next item, the conditional use application for 462 Fairview Avenue, also known as North Fairview Avenue.
Can I ask if there's anybody here on this one? I thought so, okay. Can you come up to the mic, please? You must be Mr. Carroll.
Cornell?
Cornell, okay. I can't read your handwriting, my fault.
I'm sorry.
Okay, just
I'm Andrew Cornell.
counsel what you're planning to do.
Pretty much, I have an existing garage on it. I'm gonna add a garage and then get a permit to tear down the old garage. Cause it's not, but I can't, tear down the old garage first, cause I'm stuck in the garage. You can't go outside. So I want to build a garage and get a permit to tear down the old garage.
Right, so here's the issue. You're here tonight because we have to schedule a conditional use
Yes.
hearing. Because the garage that you plan to put up is bigger than 700 square feet
Correct.
and
So,
taller than 15 feet in height.
yes,
Okay,
my job application, I have a large truck, an F-550 with a crane. The crane stands about 9'6". I have my, what do you say, all my tools, the value of the truck. I'd rather keep that in the garage than outside locked up every single night,
okay.
you know?
So hold that thought for a second, because we actually have to have a hearing in it.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Action tonight, and we have to put it in the newspaper 2 weeks and,
Completely understand. I
that's
just
right.
came in to get my face recognized and,
right, I thought that was very good that you got to talk to your neighbors already.
oh, yeah, yeah.
So that's a really good idea. So all we're doing tonight is scheduling it for May the 7th, right?
Yeah, it's the next workshop meeting.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Right, and so when we get to it, all council has to decide tonight is to advertise it for the 7th. Then on the 7th, you come, explain what you want to do. And if you look at, you got a letter from our zoning officer and the actual ordinance is in it. The,
Okay, yeah.
remember
yeah.
getting that? Right. And that tells you what you have to show, that your setback regulations for the principal building apply to the accessory.
Correct.
And, that you may be required to offer landscaping to mitigate the impact on your neighbor.
Yes.
Okay? So that's basically it. And I just, so, you're around on May 7th?
I'll be here.
Sometimes, I mean, certainly a plan is a good idea. Sometimes a picture helps, whatever, you know?
Oh, yeah, it's just, I drew up quickly.
Right, but if you know what it's gonna look like and you can show council that, that's always helpful.
Okay, that's fine.
And you guys are sort of sitting like the zoning board for these things. Conditional use comes to borough council, zoning applications for variances and special exceptions go to the zoning board. So we will do the hearing and then, if you're ready, we could take action that night to, approve it or disapprove it, whatever. Okay, and also the council has a copy of your application and a copy of the zoning, officer's letter, which spells out the actual code. Okay. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, if we're done with new business, we'll go on to item 8, old business, if there is any.
I don't have any.
All right, that leads us into our action items, which we have one for tonight. So, can I get a motion to consider advertising for a conditional use hearing for 462 Fairview Avenue, also known as North Fairview Avenue, for a public hearing to be held May 7, 2025 at 7 p.m.
Motion.
Second?
I get a motion from Councilman Burns, a second from Councilwoman Cresser. Was there a question in the audience?
Farview, you said fair.
I said fair, okay. So, again, I apologize. Again, my brain is mush, more than normal.
And I made a mistake and I didn't even have that.
All right, so we got a motion from Councilman Burns, a second from Councilwoman Cresser. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? There are none, so the motion passes. Item 10, motion to adjourn. So we will have a quick executive session to talk about personnel issues. So can I get a motion to adjourn our meeting?
Second.
I get a motion from Councilwoman Cresser, a second from Councilman Fagan. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.